flight school. So that's what I was trying to tell you earlier. So I want to get to the airlines eventually. Right now I'm finishing up flight school. I just got endorsed to take my CFI check ride to become a flight instructor. And then once I finish that, then I'll probably just be an instructor, help teach people, help them become pilots
Okay, yeah,
until I hit
and then
my hours.
I'm guessing that's what your IG page is about, right? Like,
Yeah,
what's the content about? Like, tell us a little bit more about your
for
page.
sure. So yeah, I mean, I was looking into flight schools and I didn't find like that much content on, Instagram, YouTube, all that of someone who documented their whole journey from no experience in aviation all the way through becoming a career airline pilot. So
Hmm.
I figured that I would kind of do it, help others out, and then plus I always liked making videos and whatnot. So
Cool.
that's kind of my thing. I'm going to ATP. Obviously, it's the biggest flight school in the country to my knowledge. Classic, it's the first thing you're going to see when you look up flight school. So I figured I'd do it, and then yeah, I'm just kind of documenting my journey so others can see what it's like day in and day out, day in the life, all that kind of stuff. And then just making fun, cinematic aviation stuff, just because I like flying airplanes pretty much.
Nice. And then where did this come from, man? Did you always kind of like flying, or like what inspired you to follow this route?
Yeah, it's funny. So I did my first 2 years of college, and then I was first pre-med, and then I was going to do finance, and then I actually did door-to-door sales the past 2 summers. I think it was summer of 2022 and 2023. And then while I was doing that, and that was good, I mean, ended up being really good, and it's helped me pay for flight school.
Right.
But I mean, it's not fun at all. And then all of a sudden, I kind of just thought about, it. I'm like, why haven't I ever considered becoming a pilot? Because at that time, it was when they were hiring like crazy, big pilot shortage, whatever. They're making much more money. And my brother-in-law, so he's actually a Delta pilot. So he flies the
Oh, cool.
Airbus here in Utah. And
Nice. I lived
started
in.
chatting with him, went on another small, like a flight in just a Cessna. And then, I figured I had made some money from doing sales and I wouldn't have to take out a big loan. So I decided to go for it. And it's been, best decision. I love flying. So yeah.
Nice, dude. And how long you been flying?
Um, let's see. It's been really just since March. So I've been like going at it every day. It's gone by super, super quick. So
Okay. That's pretty cool, bro. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
So what do you do for work then?
So yeah, so that's the thing. So I did door-to-door sales. You can see John Fox just commented. I actually did it with him. He's my best friend, got me into it. And then so it's pretty great. It's a common thing out here in Utah. I'm LDS or Mormon. So all these like LDS missionaries will get recruited to go do sales. Once they get back from their mission. Have you ever seen that like the two Mormon missionaries and stuff?
I actually lived in Utah
You
for
did.
4 years, so I
Okay,
yeah,
so you're very familiar. So yeah, we
definitely.
all get recruited to go do the sales thing. So I did that 2 summers, and I was able to make a decent amount of money. And then through that, I was able to save that up so that let's see, I came home from summer of 20 last year's 2023, went and traveled with my wife for a little bit, and then I just started flight school in March of this year. So I've just been kind of going off of that, not working, but that's kind of what all this stuff is too, social media. And now I'm helping people with grounds and mentoring and all that, just trying to make, some extra income and help people that way too.
Nice. So you're running like your own side business, like helping people with their pilot journey as well?
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. I just barely posted about it a few days ago. But yeah, pretty much just helping them study and teaching them. And, because most big flight schools charge you through the roof for instruction. So
It's not a
figure I can do it a little bit cheaper for those who want to jump on.
nice. That's pretty cool, man. And what's your favorite part of being a pilot, bro?
My favorite part of being a pilot, I would just say the views. I mean, you can't beat it. Like we live our whole life on the ground and just being up in the air and seeing the world from that point of view. I don't know. I'll never take it for granted. I feel super fortunate to be able to do it. I mean, you're flying an airplane. I don't know. Just saying that is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that makes sense. And then we have a question. Somebody asked, what advice would you give to someone who is really considering ATP?
What advice would I give to someone who's considering ATP? Um, Let's see. I would say just make sure you know what you're getting yourself into. There's lots of pros, there's lots of cons as well about ATP. It's great for me. They've done everything they said they were going to do. I would say it is really expensive though when you compare the price to other schools. It's definitely going to be one of the more expensive, if not the most expensive option. So I would just say do as much research as you can, talk to as many, ATP students as you can, and just make sure you're willing and prepared and know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, stay informed, of course. And what would you say is the most challenging part of being a pilot, Luke?
Oh, I would say, I mean, with my schooling, I'm doing an accelerated program, and I would say it's just like, I mean, when I started CFI Academy 2 weeks ago to start studying to become a flight instructor, they said we expect you to be here 8 hours a day, 7 days a week until you get endorsed to take your check ride.
Oh wow.
So it's just the grind, you know. I mean, it's tiring,
Uh, uh,
um, but yeah, I would just say that when you're doing an accelerated program, it's intense, but that's also, I mean, it's rewarding as well. You're cranking out ratings and stuff, but yeah.
that sounds super intense. So that brings me to my next question. You look like a very healthy individual, bro. Like, how do
Oh, you're
you keep
nice.
up with that? Like, what do you do to make sure that you stay healthy? What do you do to make sure that
Yeah.
you're taking care of yourself?
Um, yeah, well, actually, I'm gonna post my story. So I just barely finished a meal prep. That's a big thing. I mean, I try to meal prep as often as I can because if I don't meal prep, I'm just gonna probably eat, not great food, gas station food, when the days are long and busy. So I try to find one day of the week where I can make, 8 or 5 to 10 meals and then maybe some fruit on the side, try to have a protein shake every day. And then as far as working out, I just try to get to the gym at least, or either get to the gym or go on a short run, at least like 4 to 5 times a week. So,
Nice.
and I don't know, it kind of varies the time of day I can do it. The other week, when the first week of CFI, I barely made it to the gym, so it wasn't a great week. But I don't know. I'm constantly setting goals. I like to have like an event to train for.
Good.
So yeah, I'm considering what to sign up for next.
Yeah, I think that's key, right? Like having an actual target that you're shooting for instead of just kind of like blindly, like that's
For sure.
obviously what I tell my clients all the time is when we have goals, when we have vision, when we have somewhere that we want to get to, it's a whole lot easier than just saying like, okay, well,
Sure.
I want to lose weight or just wanted to be healthy. Have you always kind of like worked out and watch your nutrition, or is this something that you over time started to improve, or how's that journey been for you?
Yeah. I would say I've always been interested in it. I've been lifting since high school. I mean, I'm on and off with it, but usually I'm pretty, during the summers when I was doing sales, did not work out at all because you're working from, 9 or 10 to 9 p.m. every 6 days a week. So it's super hard. But other than that, yeah, I've always been lifting. I did a half Ironman, I think 2 years ago with all my brothers and cousins and stuff. So
Nice.
that was good. Got into a little bit more biking, swimming, all that. And yeah, yeah, I would just say I've always been pretty into, trying to eat good, but saying it is one thing and actually doing it is another, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah, for sure. But it sounds like you've just been living an active lifestyle in general,
Yeah,
which is
no,
pretty
I try
good.
to get like 10,000 steps in per day whenever I can.
And let me ask you this, Luke: is this pushed in flight school? Like, are you guys talked about the importance of being healthy, or is it just sim training, studying? Like, do
Yeah.
they actually like preach this, or what's been your experience with that?
Um, I mean, where I'm at, no, definitely not. I would say the only way it gets pushed is the I'm safe checklist. I don't know. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you a pilot yourself?
I'm
You're
not.
not.
No.
Okay. So yeah, you hear about the I'm safe checklist. It's one of the first things you learn. And so illness, medicine, safety, I can't even remember all them. Well, yeah, anyway, but fatigue is one of them. So, and then eating and emotion. So that's kind of the only time where you think about, fitness, eating, sleeping, making sure you're being healthy. But outside of just running through that checklist, I haven't heard anyone like, I mean, they said be here 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's, I don't know.
And in your opinion, what's the importance of staying healthy as a pilot? Like, why do you feel like that's important?
Oh, I think I mean, it's super important. If that's the whole reason, I mean, you have to get a medical for a reason, right? You need to be healthy in order to go fly aircraft and fly passengers and stuff. And if you're not, it's seriously dangerous. And not only that, for especially going through flight school, it just having a healthy brain and like getting enough sleep and exercising and all the ways it translates cognitively and with your ability to study and retain information, I think it's huge. So I don't know. My wife also gets bugged when have you ever listened to Andrew Huberman's podcast? Okay,
I
so
love Andrew.
I listen to him a good amount, and he always talks about your circadian rhythm and making sure at night you're not watching have all these bright lights. But anyway, so I try to turn off all the lights at night and everything, and my wife doesn't love it. But yeah, I think if you get good night's sleep and you're moving your body every day and working out, it definitely translates.
Yeah, because I feel like as pilots, like everything is, all very unique challenges, like airport food, time zone changes, sleep schedules, the sedentary nature of the job. So you don't want somebody that's unhealthy flying your
For
plane.
sure.
Like we've heard stories of pilots having heart attacks and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just, and some of these pilots, I don't know. Like I'm surprised how some guys get their
Yeah.
medicals sometimes. The pilot resumes here commented. They said the FAA is cracking down on BMIs, which I think is important as well because I
Yeah.
think people underestimate that health isn't just about how you look, but it's about how you think.
Yeah.
It's about how your brain works. And if you're feeling foggy, if you're feeling tired all the time, that's gonna translate into your job, into your relationships, into everything. So I think
100%.
it's obviously that's why we created Fit for Flight. So that's kind of like why we're here, man.
For sure.
But that yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
curious.
So what's yeah, go
If
for
you
it.
don't mind, I'm curious. Tell me more a little bit about what you do. Obviously, you're a health coach for pilots. Kind of I'm curious to know kind of your story a little bit.
Yeah, so dude, I actually went to school and was doing architecture. So I was doing floor plans when I graduated, and then the office life just it wasn't fulfilling me. I've always been a creator at heart. I'm actually like a professional break dancer as well. That's kind of like what I do on the side. That's what I do for fun. So I love creating. I love seeing something come to life that I was making. So I love that aspect of it. But
Yeah.
just the 9 to 5, having to wake up, having to go report to somebody,
Yeah.
my boss is kind of an asshole. And so I kind of started to think, okay, well, how can I escape this 9 to 5 hamster wheel? And so I thought, well, I could start a business. And so that was when I kind of like, that sparked in my brain, okay, let me start my own thing.
Yeah.
And I was actually following a coach who helped other coaches build businesses during that time. But during that time, I was like, I can do it on my own. I can, whether it was my ego wanting to be self-made, whatever it was, something was holding me back from actually asking for help. So I decided, I went on Google and I was like, okay, how to start a business.
Yeah.
And then, I always say this, but much like fitness, when you go on Google, yeah, you can find a bunch of training plans, a bunch of meal plans. You can find it all on the internet, but nothing's going to be specifically
Yeah.
tailored for your situation, and nothing's going to fit your schedule. Nothing's going to fit your preferences. And so you can get some results, but it's going to be really hard to create something sustainable, right? So with business, it was similar. There's so much stuff out there that you don't really know what's going to work. I ended up trying on my own for like 6 months, and I got to a point where I realized I'm putting in all this effort. I have nothing to show for it. So I said, screw it. Let me hire a coach. Let me see where I can take this. And that's kind of like where my mentality around coaching and mentorship like completely changed.
Yeah.
Because that's when I realized, oh, now I have a coach. Now I have a step-by-step process. Now I have somebody guiding me through the process. Now it's no more guesswork. It's no more, let me try this, let me try that. It's here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And why pilots, why fitness? Me and my coach, we sat down. We were like, okay, what are you good at, Juan? Throughout high school and college, I worked for my aunt in a weight loss clinic.
Okay.
And so I thought I can help people with that. Being in an office, I thought office workers. That was my original idea of like who I wanted to help. And then me and my coach, we just did some random research, and we just randomly came across pilots. And we realized, oh, pilots have a very sedentary lifestyle. They have a lot of
Yeah.
very unique
Sitting
challenges.
in the cockpit.
Um, and that was about 5 years ago. And the reason I really leaned towards pilots was because I saw that nobody out there was providing this service for pilots.
Yeah.
There was there's a lot of fit pilots with their meal prep hacks and their workout videos, but there's no actual coaches like providing what we're providing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I've seen a couple pilot coaches pop up here and there, but I still feel like nobody's doing it like we're doing it, bro.
Yeah.
So like that was 5 years ago. And then after working with enough pilots, I've had cargo guys, I've had corporate guys, I have CFIs, I've had students, I've had all sorts of pilots at this point. So I understand kind of like everyone has like their own unique challenges.
Yeah.
And basically what we do for them is we'll write out training plans, based on if you tell me, hey, I have a gym membership, or hey, I have equipment at home. So we'll write out a training plan based on that. Meal plans, we don't do anything like super strict. I don't give my clients any diets. You probably see from my content, like that's not what I preach. But we do have like guidelines and templates that we want to lean towards, healthier foods most of the time. And then obviously hit calories, hit macros, and making sure that they're hitting their targets.
Cool.
And then I have a custom app for my clients. So everything is kind of like laid out for them. They have a calendar, they have, all their workouts, everything pretty much laid out for them. And then obviously accountability, which is key, for most people, is just having somebody checking in on you, making sure that you're staying, on track, and making sure that if any adjustments need to be made, that's where that having an expert by your side comes in.
Sure.
I'm sure you know this from what you're doing. I'm sure it's kind of similar to what you're doing, but just with pilot training and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. That's cool, man. That's awesome.
Are you also providing like some sort of program, or is that kind of like the route that you're going, or how are you going about it?
With as far as my calls with people and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
No, not yet. I mean, I have ideas of stuff in the future, and maybe, online community and, memberships and that kind of stuff. I have ideas. Right now I'm so busy with school, I haven't. As of right now, it's literally just me giving ground instruction to people who want to learn, or just, people who don't have a family member in aviation and they're looking to get into it. But obviously there's so many different routes and paths, and so I just kind of help people out with that.
Nice. And you said your plan is to go into the airlines, like that's what you want to do eventually?
Yeah, that's the goal eventually. I think flying corporate and stuff would be fun, but I think long term, yeah, the goal would be like Delta or something. I think it's just good, probably one of the better routes for having a family, and that's where my brother-in-law is at, and he loves it. So that's the goal for sure. Do you mostly work? Do you mostly work with airline pilots, or who?
I would say, yeah, most of the guys tend to be airline, but like I said, it's a good mixture of everybody.
Yeah.
There's cargo, there's corporate, there's I've had some CFIs, like some students, like I said, even some private pilots.
Yeah.
That, maybe they'll have something on the side, but they find me and they're like, oh, you work with pilots.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, all sorts, man. So yeah. Obviously, the pilot journey is a challenging one. I imagine that's kind of like what you did, kind of like what you're doing. What would you say to somebody? Because I know a lot of people will probably follow us who are maybe thinking about pursuing aviation or are on their journey. Like, what would you say would be like some advice for somebody pursuing this passion?
With regards to fitness, or just in general?
Just in general.
I don't know. I would say just make sure you have the right motive for getting into it. I think it's really easy with, I mean, and I'm victim to it. You see people on social media and you see maybe stuff I post, and it's like, oh, it looks so fun and everything. It seems like you have such a great lifestyle in this. And I'd say just kind of the same as my answer before, just educate yourself and have the right motive. Don't get into it because you think it's cool to say you're a pilot, or because you think you're going to make a good amount of money, or just do it because you have a passion for flying. And I would just say, yeah, just make sure you're educated on what it is. It's the longer I've been around, it's the more, I don't know, there's definitely a high barrier to entry, and it's very expensive to get into it. And it fluctuates a ton depending on what the economy is doing with hiring and stuff. So I'll just say, make sure you know why you're getting into it. Make sure you really do have a love for flying. But
Where are you based out of, by the way, man?
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh, Salt Lake. Okay, so you are in Utah. Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
No, I was born and raised here.
Do you go to Oshkosh, man? You're going to be at Oshkosh?
I want to this year. What month is it?
It's in July.
Or this next upcoming year. I did not go this year. Or did you?
Yeah, we had our booth, so it was
Okay,
kind of like our Oshkosh debut. But it was my first time
cool.
going in general, and it was kind of like mind blowing. There's
Yeah,
so many
no, it
airplanes.
seems insane.
Yeah,
I want to go way bad. Where is it? Where Wisconsin or where is it?
yeah, it was.
Wisconsin.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm planning on doing it next what I mean next year if I can. We'll see.
Definitely go, man. Definitely come check us out. We're gonna have a booth again. I think this time we're gonna have
Uh-huh.
outdoor.
Uh,
Unfortunately, they're not letting us have weights, which is kind of lame. Because
oh,
our plan was to have like a gym. Because everybody was
yeah,
like, "Dude, if you had like a
yeah,
mini gym, like
that's way
everybody
cool.
would be down." But they said we can only do like body weight stuff. So we'll probably have like
Huh.
kind of like a calisthenic type gym.
Yeah,
But it'll still be cool. We had a good time last year. We like to do like fitness challenges. My assistant coach Brandon, he's really good on the mic, and so we have fun with people, and
that's
all the
way
kids
cool.
really enjoy it. Yeah,
That's
so it
way
was
cool. Are
good.
you going to any other air shows or stuff like that?
We're thinking about doing Sun and Fun. I hear that's
Okay.
another big one, and that's
Yeah.
one here in Florida. I'm in Miami, so that one would be
Okay.
right down the street.
Cool.
So we're looking into that one, and then the one that it's not an air show, but are you familiar with the NBAA, the Vegas?
It that just happened.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
saw it. I still don't really know what it is, but I have seen people post about it and everything.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, it's like an aviation thing. Like,
Yeah.
but I think
I
it's
don't
for
know.
like new technologies and like I know one of my Facebook friends, she went and she said like there's a lot of schools and stuff, which is
Okay.
actually kind of the direction we also want to take Fit for Flight,
Yeah.
is maybe eventually like working with a school because
I think
we
that'd be
had like
way
a
cool.
couple people actually approach us at Oshkosh and talk about if
Yeah.
we do corporate, which that would be awesome, if we sign up for
That'd be
with a
great.
school and just get all their students in shape. And then
Yeah.
imagine what kind of pilots we're sending out into the
For sure.
world. The healthiest pilots.
I think
Hmm.
you could even get in with, certain cadet programs, have some sort of deal with because have you ever you've heard of like the cadet programs like United Aviate and stuff?
No, tell me a little
It's
more about that.
it's just like where people like United Aviate is one I don't know a ton about it or Delta Propel. So there's certain universities that have flight schools, and if you're a student is a part of that flight school at that university, they can join Delta Propel program. It's basically a program where they go and then they fly for Endeavor and they're with Endeavor Air for so many years, and then they eventually flow and they get to go to Delta guaranteed after so many years.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
just like thinking for you, I don't know if you could maybe, and there's tons of these cadet programs where people sign up and they agree to go fly for like a certain airline and then they get seniority even as like a student pilot, you know?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. That just kind of popped into my head. I'm like, you can maybe figure out something
I'll
with those. Like,
definitely look into that. Yeah,
yeah,
man, because our ultimate goal, like my ultimate vision is like go to an airline and be like,
yeah,
let's give me all your pilots. Obviously have a massive team
for
at that
sure.
point, but that's kind of like the ultimate vision that we have
Yeah,
for Fit for Flight. So we're
that's so
we're
cool.
really excited, man. Yeah, and it's fun. It's cool to also see your journey, bro.
Thanks, man.
So excited to see you in the airlines, and then
Yeah, no,
so
I'm excited to see what you do, and I love your content. I followed you, I don't know, a while ago because I like fitness stuff, and I haven't seen anything like what you're doing either. So I think it's great.
awesome. Thank you, bro. Yeah,
Of
and then you got some really cool edits too. You edit your stuff yourself, or you got
course.
somebody
Yeah,
doing it for you?
all the stuff on Instagram, a lot like 95% of it I edit myself, but then the YouTube longer videos, it's there. I don't have time right now, so I send those videos for someone to edit, but
It's really time consuming.
for
Yeah,
sure.
my no
Do you
sense
edit?
right here. My
Do you
assistant
edit
coach.
your stuff?
No, the guy that's in the chat, the guy
That
that says thanks for the interview,
he
that
edits it.
he edits my
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. He's really good at
Cool.
it too.
Yeah, he
So,
is good. They're great.
um, but yeah, awesome, man. Well, I'd say, does anybody else have any questions? Anybody else want to ask any questions in the chat? I see we got a couple people in here. Before we kind of close this out, unless you got anything else you want to touch on, Luke.
I don't have anything else to touch on unless there's any questions that want answered.
Everything is too expensive. Yeah. Yep, we touched on that. Is there a lot of like scholarship programs? Like, how do people usually get funding for it? Or do you just have to have, some money or be willing to, sign up
Yeah,
for?
I mean, that's why there's a high barrier to entry. I think it's like there's not that many options. I think there are some scholarship options. There's usually nothing that's going to pay for like all of your training all the way through to become a flight instructor, you know, private, instrument, commercial, CFI, whatever. Um, but there are like, I know like some of these cadet programs, once you become a CFI and say if you did take out a loan, like this one with SkyWest, once you're 500 hours total time to 1,500 hours, if you're a part of SkyWest program, they'll pay you for those next 1,000 hours, 17,000. So
Oh,
that
okay.
helps like repay back a loan. But yeah, as
Oh
far
yeah, I know
as
some companies will be like, "Hey, we'll give you 100,000 to
yes,
join." But I've had clients actually who I think they don't end up finishing the program, and then they owe the
yeah.
company for the trip, which
Yeah, no,
is worst
it's
case.
scary. It's sketchy
Mm.
stuff. So that's why I'm saying that's kind of my thing. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself into before you sign the dotted line anywhere with any school or loan or, you know.
100%, hundred
But
percent. Awesome, bro. Well, again, I appreciate you doing the interview, man. Maybe we do one of these again in the future, and then
sure.
we'll definitely stay in touch, and then maybe we meet at Oshkosh, bro.
Cool. Sounds good, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
You too, Luke. Take care, man.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone. Peace.